Welcome everybody, strap yourselves in and get ready because this is Season 16 of Wheel2Wheel AL2 Championship. We have 21 rounds of racing and we start here down under in the beautiful city of Melbourne, which is the sporting capital of Australia. Was ranked one of the world's most livable cities for 7 years in a row. One of the only cities in the world to host a Formula 1 Grand Prix, a tennis Grand Slam, Olympic Games and Commonwealth Games. The first Grand Prix here was in 1996 and this is Melbourne Park. Here we see some average lap speeds of 120 miles an hour. We have 16 corners, 6 to the left and 10 to the right. 58 laps of this 3.3 mile long circuit. Hopefully we will see some overtaking here into turns 1, 3 and 13 as they have got the DRS assistance. In the Pirelli tyres, we are in the middle of the range. We have the C2, C3 and C4. The soft tyres are approximately 1 second faster than the medium and 1.5 seconds faster than the hards. The softs are due to last about 24 laps, mediums 35 and hards 46 laps, but in reality the softs are looking to go about 14s and the mediums will take them into a decent part of the race. Looking at a two-stop here, I am Bloomstar 1986 and today I am joined by Allshot Down. How are you, Allshot?
Oh, good afternoon. No, I'm good. I'm looking forward to the first round of the season, especially Melbourne as well. It's one of my favourite tracks of the calendar, very fast-paced, especially with the opening sectors of 1 and flowing through Sector 2 as well. So it's going to be good to see how these guys are going to fare. Of course, they've all changed up their cars, all changed teams as well, to see how they pair with their new teammates. And, well, after last season's results we had, I just can't wait to kick it off here today.
Yeah, we've had quite a few new things coming into this new season at Wheel2Wheel. We have a new scoring system where now all 20 places will earn a point. Basically, it's the standard scoring system plus 10. And then 11th place will get 10 points, descending by 1 per place, leaving 20th scoring 1 point. We have 10 drivers on track today. Most of them look to be looking to set a time on the soft tyres. So we'll see how this Australian Grand Prix unfolds in this qualifying session.
Yes, and I just saw it come up here in regards to the weather as well. We are expecting a dry quali and a dry race, maybe with a little bit of clouds, so I don't see any of those inters or the wets being used today. Like you say, the tyre strategy is going to be into this as well, with such a big difference between the soft and the medium compound. Even if it had to be an early pit stop and they put on the hard tyres, we've seen it done before, it could be done again. But again, it's just going to be who's going to have the outright pace, especially now we don't have the championship winner from last season as well. Who's going to step up to the plate and who wants to put their car on the front row of the grid for this first turn, really, first Grand Prix even.
Yeah, Dazibon, number 1 fan, he's first on his flying lap. Will join Allshot doing a onboard soon with one of the people. But Dazibon, number 1 fan, also known as Strident, we're going to now be calling him James. That's what he wants us to call him. So, but he's the first to take on this track.
Well, I'm glad you said that one before I called him Dazibon then. So, just keeping an eye out here. I believe we've got everyone out on track besides Sega, who I believe Sega has just left the pits as well on a set of mediums. So, all 10 cars out on track now. It'll be interesting to see who comes round. Just trying to find where everyone is. We've got Silver there, moving out the way of the Ferrari. I believe that was Old Dad's. No, beg your pardon. Then Fred on his outlap. He's going to be promising, I think, this afternoon. He has showed pace and he's showed, good consistency as well where it matters. That Ferrari pairing, after the last couple of races that I personally joined you for, with Old Dads as well, coming from the back after turn 1 at Abu Dhabi, they're going to be a strong pairing to actually face.
They are. They're quite well here, and we have a retirement already. We have... I can't catch him on track.
It's Maxi, but I don't know where he ended up on track.
It's the chicane just before the last DRS straight. He lost control there and ended up in the wall and losing a wheel. So unfortunately he won't be able to set a time for this qualifying lap. But James did set a time of 1:21.9, which is quite a respectable time here.
What I say is they're all starting to come round now. Just on board here with the letdown state now, going down through, finishing Sector 2 even. Like I say, there's the second DRS zone that you really kind of have coming through, coming up soon even. It's going to go into the quick left and right. Just going to have to stick it here, make sure he doesn't catch the outside curve as well. In the Red Bull as well. I'm not trying to be biased, but he's in the same team. I've got to look out for these guys this season. Like I say, it's a shared constructors.
Yeah, Wheel2Wheel have also got combined constructors between the two splits now, so if you score points in a McLaren in AL1, you will also be awarding points to the AL2 teams. So at the final round of the season, we will be totalling up all the points, and the constructor across both splits which has got the most points will win the combined championship, as a letdown estate puts that into third place.
There's some quick times coming out here as well, especially with Xerxes, I believe, put it on the front row with 1:21.4. That is impressive.
Yeah, pole time last season was set by Dastardly, which is 1:21.328. So we're not far from there, and this session's only just begun.
Well, I hope he's watching this evening. If he is, I hope he's well as well. So look forward to seeing him back on track at some point, sometime.
And just remind me, I'm going to post my stream onto our Facebook page, Wheel2Wheel Racing. Little plug there.
I'm just following the two medium runners now as they're going to come across the line. Sega, the first off in the Williams, crossing the line. Where's it going to place him on those harder compound tyres? A 1:22.9 puts him into 7th, followed by Cal. Shortly just behind him on the road as well, maybe getting a little bit of a tow. He goes at 1:23, so the two medium runners separated there by just under a tenth, and there is a pass across the road there. Maybe he got a little bit caught out with the McLaren coming down on finishing his lap, but luckily there was no contact. There's no debris just yet. You can see how easily this track can catch drivers out as well.
Yeah,
so
I don't think
for a clean race.
I don't think Silver was ready for Cal crossing the line there. I don't think he knew if he was on a new flying lap then or on a cool down lap. So I think he got him a little bit
Did well to avoid
flustered.
the action, so that's the main thing. Don't want to see anyone out. Well, unfortunately we've already got one, but don't want to see anyone else out just yet. Want to make sure they're all there and get their laps in for the race.
Yeah, with only 10 on track, we need them all there for scoring high points. First place wins you 35 points now, as we said. Seen a couple comments popping up on my stream, so I will just flick to that now.
Keep an eye on Silver. He's driving very slow in the Haas. I don't know if he was just trying to save his tyres on an outlap, but he's not on an outlap, so I don't know what he's going for here. I can understand saving the tyres though, but he needs to be careful on the curbs as well.
James, oh my god, hearing you is amazing. Thank you, James. Aylin, one of our drivers for AL1, a harsh off the road. Evening, lads. The next game, in which I think might be Xerxes, is oh baby baby.
I mean, it was a very neat lap, so he's got something to be happy with.
Yes.
Right, so
But yeah, that's most people in. James is looking to set his second flying lap. Did you want to do an on-board with James?
Managed to catch someone before they did this lap this time, so I feel quite privileged. I've timed it right, and my mic's even on, so it's even better. But yeah, as he's coming down into the second to last corner now, 15 and 16, he's going to want to get the car straight up, nice and easy, with the foot down on the throttle, get that maximum grip and traction to get the speed down from turn 1. The DRS is straight open, he flies down into the quick right and left of turn 1. Taking a nice bit of curve into the first corner, up onto the second. Maybe a little bit too much, but he's kept the speed going. You maybe have to inform me if he's actually unfortunately invalidated the lap there, but he's gone down.
He has invalidated that lap, yeah.
Oh, he has. Oh, yeah. That's a shame. That was a nice line, to be fair. A little bit to the left, he would have probably got away with that.
Well, he's turned his ERS off, so he's looking to bank and go again by the looks on it.
I say looks like if he can close that 5/10 as well to Xerxes at front. You know, he's in the middle of the two Red Bulls at the moment. He could be ahead of both of them if he plays it right.
Yeah, he's certainly got the pace. He's been showing a lot of increased performance towards the end of last season. As we've got quite a few drivers here from last season, but we have a few new people, 4 to name them. We have Xerxes, who's currently sat in pole, so he's doing well. We have Cal, I think he's got some pace. He's been on quite a bit with James, practicing. Silver, also new to the league, and Maxi is also new. But all the rest, names that we know and are familiar with.
Right then, so just stayed on board here with James, and he's gone now round for his second attempt of the lap. So let's just see how he fares again. DRS straight open as soon as he could. Cal has stayed out the way there. Straight into turn 1, not as greedy this time, so he's been a bit more careful. Not taking too much curb on the exit of turn 2 as it's going down into one of the heaviest braking zones on the track, like you say, turns 3. Making nice sweeping in corners here through into 4 as well. And then you've got the right kink of 5 coming up, and so far he's not taking too much curb, he's settled the car, he's keeping it nice and level. You know how easy these curves can catch you out as well when you're trying to go through these speeds. Into turns 6, 7 and 8. Again, he's keeping it nice and safe. He obviously knows he's got a bit of time in the bank, he's got time as well to go out again if need be. And into one of the corners I personally find quite tricky here, 9 and 10, and again, he's just got that right, he's hit both apexes. Going flat out now through the long left-hander into the DRS detection zone. And through 11 and 12, near enough flat here, a slight lift through the first, and then through the right-hander up onto the curb, and he's kept it clean, he's not lost the back end. DRS wide open now as he heads down into 13 and 14 here, 2 quick right-hand corners. Again, nice early on the brakes, out wide on the exit, keeps it clean. He's taken a nice tight line, questionable tight line through 14, and then we go into 15 and 16. Like I say, he hugs the left-hand side here. Again to straighten his car up for the drive to end the lap. He's got the battery deployment all right there. He might run out just before the line, which he has unfortunately, but the DRS is wide open, and where does it put him across the line? 21.6, he improves, but just off the time of Xerxes, 2/10 in it.
Old Dad's also just about to come across the line on his flying lap. He looks like he's doing quite well. And he does improve 6 attempts. He gets a purple sector 3, which puts him into 3rd place provisionally.
"22 flats a lap you can't even do if you try, I think. That's very impressive."
Cal is improved, is sector 1 by 3 tenths. So that will make him jump Sega if Sega doesn't improve his lap, if Cal can complete this with the momentum he has at the moment. Purple sector 2 for Cal. So it's looking good. Sometimes I'm sure that the purple sectors is only that of the 2 cars in front of you. But still, it's good times. Very deep into sector 3 there. Let's see how he comes around the penultimate corner. Difficult to keep your traction here. Hard to make sure that your car doesn't understeer or oversteer. DRS open, crosses the line, and he's got a 1:21.0, which puts him on pole. That was a phenomenal lap.
I was going to say, I thought he was going to have to put his foot in the door there to try and help his teammate out to get the front. He hasn't just put his foot in the door, he's kicked it wide open. He's really played his cards down early, and with 5 minutes left on the clock, he's showing what he's got. I really now want to see what these Red Bull drivers can do, the Ferrari, just anyone. Let's see how they respond to this. He's nailed that lap.
Well, Sega for the Williams, he's shown some really good pace end of last season, and with it being the same game, it will carry through to this season. He is just starting another flying lap, so we'll see how he can improve, or if he can. Going on his previous performance, I think he's going to be... he's got room to improve here, as you were saying.
I was just going to say, yeah, a couple of these guys, obviously, like you mentioned, race before, and some of them new, like Xerxes, obviously racing in other leagues as well. And he does have pace. He's quick. He can be consistent as well. So that to see him up there in P2 on his first, well, stop me if I'm wrong, but first wheel-to-wheel showing as well, really sticking to the people that have been in this league, like say last season, the seasons before.
Well, I know that Xerxes is very new to the game. He's only about 2 or 3 months into F1 ever.
Oh wow! Well, I didn't know that, but that's... Well,
yeah,
I need to practice a little bit more than I think, so... but no, he's shown some phenomenal pace, and well, from what I've seen anyway on track.
Yeah, McLaren doing very well to stay out of the way of the Williams there. And Sega heading to the line, and he will do a 1:21.3, which pushes Xerxes down to 3rd and puts Sega into 2nd. Some incredible times here now.
I'm just saying, James is back out on a fresh set of softs as well. So he's going to, well, hopefully he's got that response that he's looking for to try and get back up close to his teammate. a letdown state as well. He's not out on track yet, but again, he'll be looking to try and get back into the top 4 where he was earlier. So there's a couple cars, a couple drivers that definitely still can mix this up for us in the last couple minutes of the session.
A letdown estate, one of our longest members, probably the longest member that we've got. I think he would have joined season 2, if not season 1.
Well, I say I don't know about you, but he's the reason I'm even in this league to begin with. To be fair, so if it wasn't thanks to him, I wouldn't even be racing with you lot. So I appreciate what he's done for me over the years.
Thanks a letdown. And Prev improves his lap there by 1/10, which puts him incredibly close to CHM, which is another one of our long-serving members of Wheel to Wheel. He's just about to cross the line. Can he improve his time? And he does by nearly 6/10, which puts him up into 5th.
So I'm just watching on board with James as well now, and he's just coming through to the end, well, middle of Sector 2, beg your pardon, into turns 9 and 10 now. And it's looked like a relatively clean lap, but I believe, as I say that, put my foot in my mouth there, I believe the lap's is gone invalid.
Yes. Have you got your mini-map up?
Yes, just turned it on.
Yes. Yes. There's a big giveaway.
Yes, it is. Try that one again.
Cool.
He's got plenty of time to do 1 or 2 more laps as well, so depending on how much fuel he's got on board, he's safe to go again. To be fair, I believe we're going to see at least 1 more attempt, maybe from everyone. Cal must be having to leave the pits pretty soon if he wants to get out within time, or maybe he's just banking on the fact he's safe.
I don't think he has any more time now, but that is an incredible time to be sat in the pits looking at, whilst everybody else is fighting. Ooh, and James invalidates again. He goes way too deep out of turn 1. He's just about got enough time to get round again, but has he got the fuel and the traction on the tyres to even put in a good lap? We'll have to wait and see. Sorry, all shot.
No, I was going to say, we've got 3 guys now just on the flying lap now on fresh rubber. Xerxes, a letdown, and Old Dad's rule. So 3 times it could be coming in quick and fast as well as they come across the line. I believe Old Dad's not too far behind Xerxes on track as well, so we're going to have 2 quick times put in from both of them there. Especially with Xerxes going to be finding around 4/10. See if he can find the track on this fresh rubber today. A letdown state, though, I believe, will be the first of the trio to cross the line to sink his time in. So it goes through into Sector 3, keeping it nice and flat, pedal down, coming down into the final couple corners of the track. Again into one of the heavier braking zones into 13 here, nice and early entrance even, beg your pardon. Nice exit as well, a little bit of grass on the outside though. Round into 14 and then into the final 2 corners, 15 and 16, turns in nice and easy, keeping the car placed nice on track and getting a nice drive. Yeah, no oversteer, keeping it nice, using as much curve as he needs to get down to the line. DRS wide open as he comes down to the line, he puts himself back up into 4th with a 1:21.5.
Xerxes, I didn't catch it. I don't think he did improve.
I don't think he improved, but Old Dad split the Red Bull by less than 1/10 of a second.
Less than a second split in the top 7, and there's a few tight times in there as well, but between 2nd and 5th, that is incredibly tight.
I'm glad I'm here tonight. This is the kind of racing I want to see. If they're going to be this close for the next, hour and a bit of our time, I've got no complaints at all, especially around here.
A letdown's just come out of somebody's way, I think. At least I hope that's what happened. So I'm not sure if anybody can actually improve there. James looks like he might be having a go, but he is 1/10 down from his previous best. Xerxes may be having another go, but I'm not sure at the moment.
James running very low on fuel as well. He's got the little red light flashing, so we can see where he does go. If he has gone for the lap, and he has. You are right, yeah.
Can he improve? No, that 10th carried.
Yeah, I think those 2 extra laps on his softs really did hinder him there. It's a shame. He clearly has that extra bit of pace he wants to show off today, but unfortunately, those, you invalidate your lap, it can catch you out. I know I'm a very seasoned veteran of doing so. I don't know about yourself, Bloom, but yeah.
Yeah.
those track limits can catch you.
It can, and that's the killer, especially in qualifying, because you won't set a valid lap. But that does round off our qualifying session, I believe, with 2 newcomers up in the top 3. That is incredible stuff. Good to see new drivers in the league. So we just wait as the cars are pulled in to the pits. Xerxes commenting on the stream, but we'll look at that in a moment because we have just finished the Australian Grand Prix short qualifying session, and in pole position we have Cal for McLaren with a 1:21.0, which is an incredible time here in his first showing at Wheel to Wheel. Second place we have the up and coming Sega Takazu, who's always had a good season last year, but always in the shadow of Mikey and Bannister, so we'll see how he can progress this season. Third place, newcomer Xerxes, racing for Red Bull. And then fourth, we have Old Dad's Rule. Fifth is a Letdown Estate. Sixth is James. Seventh is CHM. Eighth is Prev. Ninth is Silver. And 10th is Maxi, who unfortunately did crash on that qualifying session, so did not set a representable time. So we don't know the pace of Maxi yet. He could come into the race and storm it, but everybody has gone for the soft tyres. And Xerxes commenting on the stream, he did a 1:20.7, which was invalid. So that just goes to show the kind of pace that we're going to be seeing between these newcomers and these existing drivers during this race. So just to go over again, we've got the we're in the middle of the Pirelli range, so we've got the C2, the C3 and the C4. Soft tyres, Pirelli say that they can do a maximum of 24 laps, but they'll only be any good to you for approximately 14 laps. Mediums are about one second a lap slower when compared to fresh softs. And Pirelli say they can last about 35 laps. I don't think a one-stop here would be quite a viable strategy, so more than likely looking at a two-stop. Very likely to see a safety car, so we'll see how that folds out.
I was just going to say, regarding the pit stop strategy, it's going to be quite an interesting one, depending on how many safety cars there are as well. Obviously, from the race on Wednesday, we had a few, which definitely changed everyone's tyre strategies up. You know, meant they could eke the softer tyres or even the mediums if necessary. Those extra few laps to try and make the undercut or overcut if necessary. So I think the popular is going to be the two-stop, but it'll be interesting to see who does go for the aggressive 3.
Yeah. The aggressive 3 would obviously require quite a bit of soft tyres, so it depends on how many they've used in that qualifying session. I know that I had some trouble with what tyres I had available to me come the strategy.
Well, I thought you just put on a show. I thought that's the whole reason you did that one, wasn't it?
Got a comment from Dan Pilbeam. He said soft, medium, OP strat. So I wonder how many of our drivers will be going for the soft, medium strategy.
In complete same thing. I believe it was last Grand Prix. We found a few drivers going for the soft, medium, soft, and opting to end on the softs instead. So if we're going to get that again, like we've said many times before, it's going to be down to, I think, track position at the end of the day is key round here.
Yeah.
As it's shown, like we did see in AL1 as well, there were cars that were probably not normally as quick, normally as quick as the other guys, but they were up there just due to the strategy, the safety cars, making their car as wide as they can be. It is key to get in front round here. There are DRS zones, but they're not the longest.
No, there are some good opportunities for overtaking, though, because the rest of the track, you've got a corner not far away, so unless you've got incredible downforce, you won't be able to get the push up on the inside. But then if you've got the downforce to do that, you'll struggle to defend on the DRS shortly after.
I think it'll be nice to see how these guys do attack the corners. I know we saw a lot of moves on Wednesday regarding around the outside, around certain corners, and taking some really unusual lines to try and pass people. Some people trying to pass other people down straights, and unfortunately there was collisions as well. So we've seen all that in the last couple of races around here. So again, if they can keep it clean, keep it nice and tight, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, a couple more comments on the stream. Appleplex, make it a one-stopper. Bannister, come on, Team McLaren. Woo! James is saying me to Bannister's comment. Dan Pilbeam, we can only assume is Pillars, saying, Bloom, we got this season. Obviously, racing for the OP Racing Point. So the pink cars, pink flash. Pillars put on a fantastic show on Wednesday. Crossing the line first, I'll say, but finishing second in the standings. So incredible pace from Pillars, and I'm honoured to be his teammate, and I was picking up points in 10th place for the racing points. Because, you know, we wouldn't want Red Bull to win, would we?
I was going to say, talking about my old team there, I was moved across to Red Bull, and I'm looking forward to the lineup we've got in AL2, to be fair. I let down in Xerxes. I'm really excited about this one to see how we can bring this forward after we had a very nice Wednesday as well. A good strong finish for the team. I hope these guys can capitalise on it tonight.
Yeah, good to see a bit of friendly banter on the comments as well. We've got Mikey and Bannister, who was key rivals last season in AL2. Both moved up to AL1, but they joined forces for McLaren. So they will be sporting on James today, saying, McLaren boys have got this.
I'm hoping they take that fight to the track, because, like I say, we've seen a lot of side-by-side lines go around some of these corners, which I would never try or have ever attempted ever in my couple of years of doing this. But if they're going to show the same enthusiasm around here tonight, again, it's just going to put in for one very good race.
So we've got the countdown going now. We'll be going on to a formation lap. Good to see the comments on the stream. Good to see people watching. Hello, welcome, and I hope you enjoy. So I can run through last year's race results. Mikey was first, Bannister was second, and then we've got CHM was third. A letdown estate crossed the line fourth, but he finished fifth. Prev was promoted up to fourth, and Sega was sixth. All the rest DNF'd. So Australia usually full of action. Hopefully the Haas garage can put your tyres on properly, but we'll just have to see. No digging. Let's not go Red Bull.
I don't know what you mean. My name's shot down.
Commenting on the stream.
That's not me at all. I don't know what you're on about.
I'm just replying to Diggle, who commented on my stream.
Oh yeah, You tell him what for then. But no, it'll be nice to see how some of these solo guys do as well. Some of the people that haven't ended with a second driver, unfortunately, but for example, like Sega as well, holding his own for the Williams team, CHM for Mercedes, and like I say, Silver for Haas. Even I believe Maxi as well in the Renault. So even some of these guys just on their own teams, they can still throw it up there. They can still put the cars where they need to, and they can still probably get the points when necessary.
They have, and it looked like a 3-stop strategy was in for Cal there, as it popped up on his screen. But yes, like Maxi has got some good teammates in AL1 for the combined constructors. Sega in the Williams is probably one of the best off, because Williams is currently leading the AL1 championship, so we'll be in good stead to be high up on the combined constructors there. But Sega was the highest finisher of the remaining AL2 drivers from last season. He finished in 5th. Mikey was first, Bannister was second, both gone up to AL1, as has Steve-O, who was 4th. Dastardly is taking a gap year, so we won't see him on track for a short while. Hopefully we will see him again, but we are about to get ready. Who's doing boogity boogity boogity?
I'll go and I'll give it a go. Hope I do you proud, Matt. Right then, so all 10 cars just coming into the grid slots. The Renault lines up at the back there. So where we get underway? Here we go. So waiting for those lovely lights to get us underway, and they all can kick off this race. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and as soon as they're out, boogity boogity boogity, let's go racing, boys, and we're away with season 16 of AL2.
Fantastic. Oh no, we have drama at the start. The McLaren of James is already down. Is that James? It is.
I believe it was. Yeah,
no, it was Cal.
It was a Cal. I forget the timing screens all jump up and down, unfortunately, but we've got some side-by-side action with a letdown of State and Xerxes, the two Red Bull teammates here going at it. definitely trying to get that early positions for, well, trying to work out where everything is at the moment.
Yeah, a bit of drama on lap 1. I'm not sure if I can see a ghosting car there, so we might have some connection issues also, but as our timing screen's all over the shop, we're just going to have to ad hoc for now. We'll see some beautiful racing. Other than that first straight, it looks relatively calm now.
One of the main winners out of that one there is Old Dad, so you've got Sega taking the lead away there, and both Red Bull drivers as well dropped down 4th and 5th, so I think these front couple of guys are going to hopefully stick together. We're seeing a little bit of a gap already separate. I know it's only early days, but this is where the trains happen. This is, you get into the back of someone's DRS and you can't shift them, unfortunately, around here. Sometimes it can happen.
And Old Dad's was on the grass there. James, who's benefited the most from that start, having gained 3 places, is right on his tail. Sega building a lead now, 1.5 seconds as we come round the final corner from the first lap. So we won't have DRS for another couple laps until lap 3. So unfortunately Cal will be in the pits. It looks like Prev is also in the pits. So drama on lap 1, but still a lot of action can happen here in Australia, and safety cars which could always bunch the field back up. But Sega, phenomenal speed, is now nearly 2 seconds ahead of Old Dad's as James is tackling Old Dad's now.
Say Letdown's just climbing his way all over the back of that McLaren as well. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. This is all for the DRS, like we stated as well. So I think as soon as any of these guys decide to call it in their pit strategy, it's definitely going to affect the rest if they're going to stay this close. But Letdown getting a better drive there. And James down through into sector 3 now. Like I say, you've got the quick left and right of 11 and 12. If he places his car right, he's going to have that toe all the way down into 13. And that is one of the overtaking places we do have around here. One of the ones that is most used. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be close enough to give it a go down to 13 this time around, but as soon as I think next time around we'll all have DRS, and I think that will make everything a bit more spicy for us.
Yeah, he's got his teammate close behind as well, so his teammate will also be benefiting from DRS. A couple of cars going wide on the exit there. I've seen James in the gravel and Old Dad's on the grass. Old Dad's was on the grass the last lap as well, so hopefully he won't be penalised too heavily for track limits and he can keep it together.
Just waiting to hear the message come through from Xerxes' side to a Letdown saying multi-21 mark, multi-21 or something like that, because I could never see a time it's more fitting.
Yes. Well, a Letdown is holding his own for now, so we'll see how he can go. And Maxi and Silver were just having a wee little scrap, but I just didn't catch it on camera. They come round turn 1 and it looks like they swap positions.
Yeah, they got through. No damage looks like to the front of either of those cars, so no end plates missing just yet. So no one's getting their elbows up too much. But Old Dad's though straight away jumping straight back on Sega. That 2-second gap already back down to 8/10 gap. So he doesn't want to let that Williams run away with it just yet. Like I said, we've seen him put up a bit of a fight. He never counts himself out this early on. He just gets his head down and gets on with it.
But we've got close action here. No more than a second splits the top 5 drivers. Gap, I mean. Oh, and a Letdown estate has just picked up the first penalty of the race. But with DRS assistance, he is closing on James, but I don't think he will get it. But Old Dad's off the track again, the same place. Loses 3 positions there. That was not a good move from Old Dad's.
Just got to make sure he just, clears his head. It can be annoying this early on in a race to have those little slip-ups and mistakes, but there's plenty of time to go. He knows he has the pace in that car this evening to get back.
Yeah, still very close to the front pack, but Sega has pulled out of DRS range now.
Probably a sigh of relief coming from the Williams.
A Letdown estate sideways into turn 1. He was right under the rear gearbox of James there, so I think dirty air and maybe a bit of collision played into that as he just went sideways shooting into the gravel. Really unfortunate there for a Letdown estate because he's shown a really promising opening to this race, but now that incident's going to put him back.
Just keep an eye on here on the fight for second place, if you could kind of call it in that sense. Xerxes all over the back of James now. James getting a little bit out of line, getting on the grass through the end of the first sector, coming into the middle now. So Xerxes is going to be straight on that DRS as soon as he can, and I'll be really intrigued to see how he can fare against taking the fight to Sega. Like I say, he's new to the grid this season. let's see what you can do against the people that are already, know who they're racing against in that respect.
Got some more things going on with Max. Again, I didn't catch it, but there's positions being swapped there.
I believe there's a slight bit of end plate missing off of the letdown estate's Red Bull as well, the front right, so slight bit of damage. I don't know if that was from the earlier incident or anything that's just happened there.
Yeah,
This could be an early stop.
He lost his end plate with James and turn 1, but Xerxes has got a right strong run on James. He's got DRS assistance and he's coming up alongside on the inside for turn 1. I think he's clear before the braking zone, but a little bit of contact there, but James comes out on top.
The outside line through some of these corners is a very good way to defend as well. Something that, again, we saw used on Wednesday phenomenally is just you can just break that a little bit later and carry the speed. It's a lot of trust to do that though, especially if you've not raced against these guys before. To just know where they're going to put their car. But again, this just shows that these people know what they're doing. If they've been in this league, no one's here to mess around in that respect. They all do have that duty of care for everyone and coming together.
Yes, a lot of clean drivers. You have to pass an induction to get into wheel to race, but as you say, some of these people haven't raced against each other. Xerxes and James have never been on track together as far as I'm aware, so just knowing each other's driving style is something else. So I'd love to look back at the onboards to see what sort of racing room was left for each of those drivers there.
Oh, there was loads of room. Both were very respectful, and it was just where James had the later braking point and the outside of the track was open to him.
Right.
So he was able to allow the McLaren to just roll through.
Got a few comments on the stream. They reckon that the Cal at the start, he's turned his traction control off, so it's likely to have been a wheel spin out of control. So maybe all his own doing, because it's rare to see that before turn 1. But Xerxes again on the back of James, but no overtake opportunity on this occasion.
I believe that they are both trying to still pull in Sager as well. They don't want to let him just get away and have an easy afternoon. If they're going to be fighting for second, they might as well be fighting for first as well in the little bracket.
So yeah, again, a couple of comments about McLaren. I think that's in reference to turn 1. Either Red Bull, I'm not sure. It could have been with the Red Bull of a letdown estate or the Red Bull of Xerxes, but we'll have to wait and see.
It's interesting there though to see Trev was slowly starting to get up to the back of a letdown estate there. He was just about 6/10, and unfortunately that dirty air sent him a little bit wide into turn 1. So he's going to have to redo all of that hard work again over the next couple of laps to have another go.
Xerxes ever close to James. I think I might just drop down to Maxi.
Just keeping them on board of Maxi. Yeah, he's all over the back, and he was going to send it then. These guys are doing their best here.
Yeah, Silver taking a very interesting line, but I'm just going to jump to Xerxes as he's coming down to turn 1. DRS assistance. He's gaining on James, but it doesn't look like he can make anything before turn 1. Goes very deep into turn 1 on the exit quite a few times as James picks up a penalty, which won't help him in this battle. But that deep exit from turn 1 doesn't help him on the run down to turn 3. But Maxi and Silver, as I'm sure you're watching, all shot.
Yeah, he's definitely reeling it back in again. It's just needs to keep a cool head if they can stay with each other as well. He doesn't want to let him get too far away. If they can use the DRS, slowly start pulling themselves back a bit further forward to the rest of the guys here. I don't see why they couldn't get back in touch. The one I'm a little bit intrigued about here is where we got 8th, 9th and 10th here, all on the same straight of track, and they've all had very different starts to this race, of course. But
yes,
again, these guys are all keeping each other company.
Yeah, Letdown Estate and Prev did do well here last season, so we know they've got some pace. They've both had unfortunate starts along with Cal. So can they reclaim some of those positions? We'll just have to wait and see. They might have to play a long strategy for tyres.
Just want to note as well, after Xerxes getting all over the back of James there, it must have lit something behind him, because he's got the move on and the gap to Sagan now under a second. Well, just teetering on that DRS zone, so it'll be interesting. And he does, James gets the DRS, which we're hoping to defend against the Red Bull. down into turn 1 this time, so probably not as much stress now for him.
Well, the pressure building up now for Sega as he's got 2 battling cars closing down on him. Ooh, an early break in there from James. Xerxes wasn't expecting that, and he's lost a bit of end plate, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, it's the front right as well. It must be a design with the Red Bulls this season. The front right end plate just doesn't seem to stay on the car.
A couple of things I could have said then, but let's carry on with this race. So we've got 3 drivers with penalties, suffering with the track limits. Xerxes a little bit early for a pit stop to repair the wing damage, so we'll have to see. He might be slightly dropping off. James is now just outside the DRS window.
That front end grip is definitely going to affect him.
Oh,
and he lost the downforce, and he's lost it, unfortunately.
Yeah, you just need the harmony of the car to be perfect. Downforce, traction, tyres, control, everything. And you know, when you've got a bit of damage, it will make your car control differently. So through that chicane,
he's lost the silver as well, going through the similar turn, and he lost it on the exit of 12, unfortunately. So again, that corner catching 2 drivers out in quick succession. Yeah. And we have a safety car as well for the first
full safety car, so that will help Xerxes. Well, I think Xerxes could have got in and out of the pit before the guys behind him anyway. But yeah,
it still is. It'll be interesting to see if any of these, if the letdown, Trev or Cal decide to make another stop to change up their strategy this afternoon. A letdown's already done, both compounds as well, and so has Cal. So again, it'll be interesting to see how these guys, especially where they were at the beginning of the race to where they are now, if they are going to be ready to fight their way back through.
Oh, did the front of the field pass the pits before the safety car was called? Because Max was in. Max was the first car to get in.
Yeah, so Sega, James, Old Dad and CHM either. I believe CHM may have just opted to stay out. But yeah, the front 3 is, to my knowledge, they are all right on each other, but they are not behind the safety car. They were all past the line, I think, before the yellow was shown.
Which might be lucky, actually, because the safety car may have picked them up very soon if it was called any sooner.
I was going to say, it keeps their strategy open still, so if they do want to pit, they've got plenty of time to get in and make sure they get back out in time.
A letdown estate stayed out, which put him in front of his teammate Xerxes. So we may have another multi-21 call there, but a letdown estate has been showing some good pace. And I mean, Xerxes has got some incredible pace also, but Sega and James both coming into the pits.
I feel like it was a little bit of a late call there for Old Dads as he went a little bit wide going into the pits, but he still managed to keep the car in, so that could have been quite an embarrassing one, but he's still okay.
So CHM 4th place coming into the pits. All them top 4 was on soft tyres. James onto some soft tyres again. Sega and Old Dad's onto some medium, so they're trying to go long.
This is where it's going to spice everything up for us this evening, because, like I say, the soft's running for about 14 to 15 laps, but you've got the mediums that we did see some drivers can stretch over that 17 to 20 lap mark. The delta alone, nearly a second a lap difference. So on the restart, you're going to see a big difference here between the likes of James, Old Dads and Sega, and even CHM and Max as well. Their tyres, if they can keep them up to temperature, they're going to be there ready for them to attack just when they're necessary.
Yeah. So that soft, medium OP strategy, I'm not sure how viable that would be anymore, because this safety car calling for an earlier pit stop than they probably would have wanted.
But it's later than what we had on Wednesday as well, and once again it's a safety car where we haven't seen 2 drivers come together. Unfortunately, it has just been losing control of the car, which does show how easy it is to lose it round here. It's a very quick flowing track. Any part that doesn't feel right, it can catch you out at any moment.
It'd be interesting to see Maxi on the restart, because there's been a couple of things involving Maxi which I've not caught sight of didn't see him in qualifying because of his retirement. So it'll be interesting to see some eyes on him on a fresh restart of after the safety car. So all the cars gathering together now. Cal just catching the back of the safety car line now. Safety car in this lap. It's done this a couple times. That's a very late call. Very late call, but it was just as Cal caught the group. So how can Sega do here? He's going to have to back him up a little bit. And his foot is down, but he lost traction on the back end. But nobody can overtake him yet because it's the start-finish line where you have to do it.
Be interesting there then, because I believe CHM passed James before they crossed the line there going into turn 1. James has got back round the outside, so that might have been a hand position back there from the stewards. But a few of those guys getting caught out there, and CHM was prime position to pounce on all of them.
Yeah, CHM side by side with the letdown estate, but he's now ahead. Maxi now splitting the two Red Bulls. So Maxi has lost a position from that restart, but that was a bit of a confusing restart with Sega losing his back end just as he was coming round the final corner.
Luckily he had the yellow flag still out. Like I say, he can't pass till the line, so he had a bit of a plan B in that respect if necessary.
Yeah. Cal and Prev not doing too well from that restart there on 9-lap-old tyres. Prev, 9-lap-old softs. It ain't going to be too long before he's going to want to come in and change them, but James is right on the back of a letdown estate through that chicane.
I hate to point you out, but I think he's fighting old dads.
Oh. I'm thinking last season.
I was going to say, any closer to the back of that Ferrari and he's going to be paying him for an Uber. Like he's pushing that car around now. This is going to get good.
Oh. And James coming up on the inside, heading down towards turn 1. He's got some better straight line speed there. Of course, we don't have DRS on the first couple laps after a safety car restart, and James gets the position from Old Dads.
This is just what Sega's going to be looking after as well. He's going to be wanting to try and get back over that second window, and if the guys behind can start fighting for position, it's just going to make his afternoon a little bit easier, especially where he is on the mediums, compared to a couple of the guys behind who opted for the softs as well. So he's going to need that gap.
Ooh, Maxi not having a great race. He's been overtaken by Xerxes, and he was sort of on a funny line coming across one of the corners there, and Prev was right on his backside.
Oh yeah, we've got to keep it PG at something like that.
I try.
No, I think James is going to be on the back of that Williams before we know it now.
Oh, but James picking up another penalty there. He is right on the back of that Williams. Can he send it down the inside into turn 13? He can. Can he keep the position? But no, Sega takes it round the outside and keeps his foot in.
I think James has to play it smart here. He knows he's going to have the pace. He doesn't want to sit behind for too long, but he knows he's going to be able to pass that Williams easy enough. He doesn't have to try anything too reckless and will possibly, ruin his chances in this race.
CHM having a good run there. Purple sector 3 for CHM. Top 4, very tight positions there. Ooh, James doing well to brake before that before the Williams stopped in front of him. Ooh, and he catches the back of him and he loses his left end plate. The McLaren of James, but he is incredibly close to the back of Sega. But that's the difference in the tyres.
He still made the move, even with a busted wing. He's still gone for the move for the lead as well.
Can he keep hold of this? We will
believe. To be fair, it's let old dads have a go straight into the middle sector. That is very brave, going into 11 and 12 as well. Up the inside. That is trusting your car's going to have the grip to stick, and you're not going to collide with the guy on your outside.
Oh, and there's some end plate bouncing around the track. I don't know what that's from.
Having a look here, I believe. Oh, dad's out of the top cup, I believe, is free.
Sega's lost some end plate. I don't know when that
Yes, Sega and James. Yes, CHM and Old Dad's out of the top 4 there, and the 2 with the full front end of the car. Mark, though, after all of this battling, has got right back up there in the car, let down a state even, so he gets for knowing someone personally. Same with Xerxes as well, both the Red Bull guys starting to come back into this now on their mediums.
Oh, and there's someone off track. Was that CHM? I think it might have been. A letdown estate was up on the outside. I think he weren't expecting to come across the track like that.
Xerxes ended up taking a bit of a different line as well, so both Red Bulls, like I say, they were catching quick. Again, on the harder compound, CHM on the softs. If they can pull him in now while he's on the quicker compound, they're going to make their job a lot easier on the second part of this race.
That's it, all these different strategies now sort of coming into play. Safety car bunching everybody together. We've got lots of action here in Australia, and there's more end plate coming off, and this time it's in the state of a letdown of state again. Losing more end plate off the back of CHM.
Just want to point out here though, Cow on 12 lap old mediums, still running, and Prev as well. After their earlier incidents, still keeping it only a couple of seconds to the rest of the guys here, but considering the difference in the tyre life, that's pretty good going on their pace as well.
Maxi with a 3-second penalty, and the Red Bulls getting awfully close in the braking zone of the penultimate corner.
Just have to point out as well the fact that we have the leader here in the McLaren running with half a front wing effectively. Losing that end plate makes such a difference. As I let down the state, looks at CHM on the inside, and he does make the move into turn 1. Though just not waiting for anyone. I believe his front wing's actually fine, so I don't know if that was part of CHM's front end that ended up coming up on Mercedes.
I don't think each driver knew what line the other driver was taking at that point, but they've got through and survived. But CHM really suffered there, and he's dropped a few positions down into 7th.
Before I actually got myself carried away there, yeah. Guy out in front on the softs, 2.2 seconds clear. James is running this, like I say, without an end plate. It doesn't look like much of a difference in the car, but you really do feel it through some of these fast corners. Just that slight loss of downforce can affect your entire lap.
Yeah, he did pick up some extra penalty though, so he is suffering on the track limits with his reduced downforce from his missing end plate, but he is on the soft tyres. And there was a deficit of 1 second to the mediums, wasn't there? So that's really showing with his strategy there, as Maxi is coming up close to Xerxes. Xerxes also DRSing his teammate a letdown estate.
I can't help but think Xerxes is probably sitting there going, come on, let me by, mate. I'm on 5 lap fresher tyres, you know, do me a favour.
As Cal overtakes Prev also, but Prev on 13 lap old soft, so his tyres will be feeling much worse than Cal's do right now. But Xerxes quite close to a letdown estate.
I think what he's going to do there, he's going to wait for his opportunity into turn 3. If you can get a good enough drive here, that'll probably be the easier pass to do so, just so you don't have the car coming back on yourself with the DRS.
I think a lot of these drivers now, although some of them have raced each other for a few seasons, nobody seems to know where other people's braking points are, right? There seems to be a lot of... Oh, and Xerxes is off! No! What a crash! Unfortunate for the Red Bull garage there, Diggle.
You're just the worst. But no, that is so unfortunate. Like I mentioned in qualifying, those curbs are lethal, and unfortunately it has paid the cost there. I was just about to mention how he's doing brilliant with his battery, and he must have been lining up and let down a state for a pass. But I think too little too late. The dirty air plus the curb, I believe that's what it was, but that looked like a heavy impact.
That was heavy. Very heavy. And that's really unfortunate for Xerxes on his first race here, and he's shown some promising pace. We have a virtual safety car now, so we need to watch out for people picking up a drive-through, because if you exceed the delta on the virtual safety car, you are heavily penalised.
Interesting one to think that they only brought out the VSC though for this one and not the full safety car. However, it didn't stop the fact that Sega still wanted to make a pit stop on 6 lap old mediums.
Yes, but he is missing an end plate, so we probably thought he'll take the opportunity at a cheap pit stop. because he is having his wing changed. But also Prev and CHM also in the pits. Prev, I think, was the only one that didn't have a wing change. CHM and Sega had a wing change, and racing is back underway. Maxi now up into 4th place, running on some soft tyres. James also the only other runner currently on softs.
He's definitely going to have to make sure that these soft runners have to make sure they make the most of what they've got now, especially if they've got a bit of open track. Unfortunately, James is suffering. You know, he's got that bit of end plate missing there as well on that on McLaren. I beg your pardon. So I've got Red Bull on the brain now after all that. But the Renault as well of Maxi, if they can make the most of these stints now, it's going to make their lives a little bit easier in the second half. Because, well, we're looking here, we've got 6 other drivers still yet to go back onto the softs to finalise their race, if that's what they decide to do.
Yeah. Yeah, but old Dad's doing well. He certainly began to close that gap back up after that virtual safety car. He was over 2 seconds ahead, but now he's back down within the 2-second range.
Just want a quick shout out to the comments on your stream as well there. I can see that Aylin, one of the Red Bull drivers in the top pot there, not happy at all to see Xerxes there. And I think that was more of like a Darth Vader no, all in capitals. No. Clearly meant a lot there. I had to get at least one Star Wars reference in there.
Yes, I think I said that in the commentary chat, funnily enough. But yes, really, really unfortunate for Xerxes. I raced with him in another league, so it was very sad to see that he's DNF from this race when he showed such promising racecraft and pace. You know,
I think got a long way to go for the season, though. Sorry to cut you off, but he's got the pace. He's shown you what he can do now. He just needs to get to the checkered flag, and he can really put a fight up with these guys. Yeah,
and if the Red Bull guys now can really score some decent points, then you know a mixture of AL1 and AL2 Red Bull, they'll have a good fight to take into the combined constructors, don't you think?
Well, yeah, well, hopefully. I think that's what they're all hoping for in that respect. Yeah. But no, just to check back on the comments on the stream as well, I believe it is the man himself has just commented, Xerxes, if I do have this correct here.
Yes.
Got squeezed, plus a bit of wing damage, unfortunately lost it from there, so a bit of a tough introduction, but you ease into this, and once he gets the first couple races done, he's already shown, like I say, he's got the pace. Obviously not biased at all, but I think he's one of the better ones out there, maybe just because of the car he's in.
Yeah, he's a good driver. Like I say, I have raced on track with him, and again, really unfortunate to see him crash out of this race. But as you say, it's a long season at Wheel2Wheel, and if he wants to stick in it, a few new drivers finding the feet, a few experienced drivers finding the feet of the new guys, because it's one thing being a good, clean driver, it's knowing the other drivers around you and how they take their racing line. So I think a couple end plates have probably gone through that learning experience between the drivers.
Oh, for sure. Like we saw that on Wednesday as well. Some of the newer guys onto the track just learning where their lines are compared to the people that you're used to as well. It'll take a couple races just to kind of smooth those edges off, but I just wanted to point out quickly as well, old Dad's back just in that second mark of James, so clearly we are starting to see that turnover point of the tyres. Maybe the mediums are going to start coming into their own now.
Yeah, and as you say, James still with wing damage, but James struggling on the track limits. He's now accumulated 12 seconds of penalties, and here at Wheel2Wheel, if you get over 4 penalties, you are then penalised with a final position drop. So if James picks up another penalty, that will mean he will be demoted 1 place in the final standings, and then an additional place for every extra penalty after that.
Well, I was just going to say, I imagine it's not very nice from what I've heard of it, obviously it happening to people. So yeah, from a friend, of course.
Yes, that guy commenting on my stream, I think.
Yeah, it's like that's the Diggle guy, dodgy one. But yeah, it takes a lot of skill to keep it clean, especially on this year's game. And to anyone who can do, absolutely, just it's impressive. We've got guys on Wednesday that do it as well, in and out, just can keep it clean. but it makes it more interesting. Like I say, we saw the race won on Wednesday because of the penalty situation at the end.
Yep. But Old Dad's really bringing the fight to James. He can really take his racing line places that James can't at the moment because of that wing damage. Is on the outside going down to turn 13. DRS still on the inside. You can see that missing end plate there as our wheels are nearly touching come down turn 14. And James keeps hold of the position.
Doing the best job he can with what he's dealing with as well. He's making that McLaren as wide as possible without trying to make too many dangerous moves into the braking zone, but it is going to give Old Dads another bite at the cake as they go back down into sector 1 here. James just keeping up in front there. With the front wing damage, it's going to be interesting to see how Old Dads can now close him back in through the second sector just to have another go. He's biding his time. He doesn't have to try anything too reckless. Not even at the halfway point tonight.
Very deep on the exit there for Old Dad, which I think hindered his attack coming down to turn 3. But he has got mountains of overtake in comparison to James, so he's definitely racing a different race to James. Has the 9 seconds difference in penalties, the more ERS. And it could just be a waiting game for Old Dads because he's going to have the tyre life longer than James will, but he's close enough to have another look.
I think it's going to be another attempt into 13 again. He's going to line it up. He's got the grip. He's got the front end as well. DRS wide open. James into saving on the battery there. And you're going to see Old Dad send it round the outside this time to try and get the drive up onto the curb. Both guys leaving each other enough room there. Other elbow's going to come out to us. They fly into 14. And again, James keeping it okay. Dad's unfortunately running off a little bit into the sandbags. Sand trap even.
Really good respect there shown by both drivers. Pushing each other to the limit but leaving space.
I say if they keep the pace up they've got as well at this stage, I believe these front runners are nearly going to end up with a pit stop over the likes of 5th and behind at this stint. So they can definitely put the time in now to try and make sure they've got an easier second stint.
Good comments for the top 2 drivers from the previous AL2 champion himself. Really nice driving by top 2 from Mikey. Yeah, they're really showing what kind of racing respect that we like here at Wheel to Wheel.
Just to touch on this one as well, I don't know if you've noticed there, but also a letdown estate because of this fighting has pulled in around about half a second over the last lap on his 17 lap old mediums. So again, he's showing he still wants to be in for this fight for the chance to stand on the top step tonight.
Yeah, real unfortunate for a letdown estate's initial incident round turn 1 with James, I believe it was. But yeah, as you say, persistence and consistency, he's kept it in. He's on a few lap old tyres as Old Dad runs wide into that second to last corner again. He doesn't seem to like the line there. James didn't have...
It must be the dirt, yeah.
It may be,
Sorry to cut your flow there, Blue.
That's cool.
Nah, he's going to be all over the back of him again. He's, like I say, I've got no doubt that Ferrari is going to be biting at the bit now to really try and send it, as he does try to around the outside under braking into 3. So very impressive there as well, and again the gap to 3rd place is just slowly dropping down.
Yeah, James doing well, as we say, with his softer compound, which is going to be going off pretty soon, and the wing damage, but Old Dad's just keeping the pressure on. And sometimes that's all you need to do, is just pressure the driver in front and put them into a forced error, basically. But James is doing well to handle that pressure. Must also mention as well, let's mention it in a minute, because Old Dad's is having another go, coming down into turn 13, DRS assistance, and James very deep there. There wasn't much room left there, but I'm not sure how much room he could have left with the speed he was carrying. But now a letdown estate within 3 seconds.
I think we're going to see a change for the lead now, though, into turn 1. He's pushing the gearbox out, and he's making sure he gets the inside line this time, old Dads. He doesn't want to get put on the outside again there, and he makes sure he gets his car across, but that was very close into the turn 1. Yeah, but the Ferrari now, eventually, with patience, has got back in front.
Yeah, unfortunate to see there. It looked like James moved multiple times in defending then, so we'll have to see how that's viewed later in the steward's office, but James really putting up a fight, but as he's been doing that, that's allowed a letdown estate to get within 2 seconds. But Cal, also one of these very early incidents. Sufferers.
Like another one.
Yeah,
he said about your comments on your stream as well. Sorry, as well. People as well pointing it out.
I was trying not to attract too much attention there, but Cal doing a grand job. Just like a letdown estate, early pit stop, early sufferer in the race, different strategy to everybody else, but they are carrying on and up into nearly a podium place for Cal, but definitely a podium place for now for a letdown estate.
Yeah, it's showing the experience there. Like you say, he's been doing this since around about, like you said, I believe it was season 2, so more than enough time on these games and enough time racing with people like everyone here this evening, so he knows what he needs to do, and if he can keep it out of trouble, he knows he can get back up there.
Yeah, Cal, new to the league, currently in 4th, but he is pitting. But also to point out that James picked up another penalty, so he is automatically demoted 1 position from his final position.
So it does turn now, I believe the fight really is going to say that 3.7 second gap-ish between 3rd and 1st. Can we see a Red Bull? Well, it looks like we're going to be seeing a Red Bull on the podium again, like we did see on Wednesday, but
yeah,
can Mark stick it to them?
Unless a different strategy played sort of comes into action and really hinders Mark. I think Mark is looking... Mark, I'm doing you now. A letdown estate is really looking strong for a podium, especially with James on that automatic demotion now. And that is... We are not even halfway through the race, and every penalty now will mean another demotion, so if it's that wing damage, he needs to come in and change it, because it's costing him positions now, literally.
I was going to say, and I believe you've got a few people wanting to just know the penalty situation on your screen there, Bloom, so I've got a couple of comments there, yeah, one from Mikey as well, looking just to find out where everyone's at in regards to them.
Yeah, so as I say, James... Dazzy Bond #1 fan, Dazzy Bo #1 fan, however it's called. He is now on 15 seconds, which means he's got 5 3-second penalties, which is automatic demotion after your 4th. But that is James. His ears must have been burning. He is in the pits, changing his tyres and his wing.
It'll be interesting to see if he can stretch those mediums to the end as well. He has opted for them, so I didn't know if he was going to go for maybe another 2 sets of softs or even onto the hards as well, but the medium's quite a brave choice.
And a letdown of state. He's 3 seconds, 4 seconds behind the lead, but he's got 3 seconds less of penalties, so really he's only a second behind being the leader of the race come the final standing.
And due to that pit stop as well for James, we see Cal back up into 5th place after everything that's happened as well. So he's keeping his head down a couple seconds off the back of Sega as well, who was, well, been leading majority of this Grand Prix. So considering how this first half has gone, I can't really tell where anyone's going to be at this stage come into the last couple of laps.
No, it's all different strategy players now. You know, what tyres are people going to have left come the end of the race? You know, Cal is on some soft tyres now, so he is going to have to pit again. James, who's come out just behind him, his teammate, he is on some medium tyres, who could possibly take them to the end.
He's going to be asking a lot, but if he can keep it clean and not punish those tyres too much too soon, he may be able to stretch them out. A safety car would definitely guarantee that for him, even a VSC, just to kind of slow the pace down for him. But yeah, it's going to be a big ask to get those mediums to the end now.
It will be, but you know, with a bit more front wing downforce now, because he's had his wing replaced, hopefully he can stay within the track limits a little bit more and just focus on putting these lap times in and trying to push back up the field as Maxi is now in the pits, having done 17 laps on them soft tyres.
And there we go, Cal crossing the line as well with a 25.9 in regards to the fastest lap of the race there, and unfortunately James's teammate following behind him up to 18 seconds now on penalties. But Cal definitely wanting to get himself back into this race now. He's got the tyres on the car, he wants to start making the moves.
Yeah, also Cal, highest runner without any penalties. So, you know, if he's running without traction on and, you know, he's new to the league, he's doing a good show here, because you never know, a late safety car could really punish everybody else who's got penalties, and Cal could just cross the line fourth but take the win.
At the moment he's already running top 3 if you take the penalties into account, so he really is in a great spot here this afternoon. Brilliant recovery drive, unfortunately after the mishap on the opening lap.
Yeah, it does sound like, from everybody else's guesses as well, that it was a no traction manual start kind of incident, because it's very rare to see a car shoot sideways that quick when you haven't even reached turn 1.
I mean, you got to give it to him in some sense though. Put it on pole. He was sat there, you know, with a grid of behind him that people he's probably never raced before. He may not have raced before, and he's got all these assist turns off as well. So unfortunately, it may have just gotten to him. It can happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, I still get nervous league racing some days, and you know, certainly in my earlier seasons, I nearly swore then, but you know, just getting quite anxious, heart's going.
I was going to say, it probably, the pressure-wise, is all right if you've got 1 or 2 cars behind you, though, isn't it, Bloom? That's from what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, I always prefer chasing than being chased. But there's...
Yep, you've done a fair share of that.
Yeah, usually just slipstreaming you, but Cal is now chasing Sega, but James is not letting off Cal. James is slowly closing that gap despite the tyre difference, and Cal has got an amazing run on Sega now. DRS assistance heading down to turn 13. Can he get the move done with the softer compound on? He's on the inside, and I don't think Sega fought that very hard at all, because I think he knew the tyre difference and the pace.
Yeah,
that was a great
He's not
move.
racing that McLaren just yet on track. That was a beautiful move. Just want to touch on the front two as well here. Old Dad's unfortunately picking up another penalty. So right now, if it was to stop the clock or stop the count or whatever the saying is, yeah, we would be seeing a very different finishes. A letdown estate is net P1 effectively as it stands.
Yeah. That move for Cal was quite critical, because he's now got Sega between him and James. Albeit he's going to want his teammate to do well, but it's really took the pressure off Cal, as James has now got Sega to overtake before he can attack Cal again. Yeah, Alan on the comments saying, I hear Bloom likes Wreckfest. I do like Wreckfest. He's probably referring to an instant on Monday night between me and Matt, where unfortunately I caught the back of his wheel and spun him out, and I endlessly apologised as James picks up another penalty, meaning that it's now 2 position drops for the final standings.
No, I think that's one of the reasons why he may have not been here tonight, to be fair, Bloom. I'm not personally complaining. Help me out personally, but I never want to see anyone obviously crash out, especially when you're having a battle for any points positions in that respect. It just shows how tricky those straight lines are for you, Bloom. You know, it can happen.
Yeah, Cal, fastest lap, amazing job. James is now chasing down Sega, and he's very late on the braking and just touches the back of Sega. He's now DRS. He doesn't have very much overtake. He's having a look on the inside, coming down into turn 3, and he gets the job done. Again, Sega maybe not pushing too hard to defend there, because is his fight really with the McLaren boys? I'm not too sure, but he's done well to defend where he can and know where he can't.
James is showing good pace, but he does need to just be a bit careful now. Like I say, he's up to 21 seconds now on the penalties. A couple more, and it could be an early finish to the Grand Prix for him, involuntary in that sense. But we just wanted to point out the gap, how quickly it's closing here between Cal and a letdown estate. The tyre difference really coming into effect there for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, a letdown estate on 25 lap old mediums, so there's going to be a huge deficit between them two pace-wise. So we'll see what kind of lap time a letdown estate is setting now, and he sets this lap at 1:27.8. What is Cal currently lapping? So a letdown estate was a 1:27.8. Ooh, Cal's deep on the final exit. 1:25.9, so nearly 2 seconds a lap faster than the Red Bull.
Well, you said earlier those tyres probably good as well for another maybe 8 to 10 laps on Cal, so he can still eke this out, and he'll be closing onto the back of that Red Bull very quickly. I'm impressed of the fact that the mediums on the Red Bull have gone 26 laps, same for the leader as well, old Dad's 21 laps on those set of mediums as well. So these guys must be possibly thinking about, well, must be another one stop on the mediums for those two, don't you think?
I reckon so, yeah. I reckon the top three all going to have to pit again. James possibly get away without pitting, depending on how the safety car and the track evolution goes. It's looking pretty cloudy now, so track temperatures are probably going to be dropping from what they were at the start of the race. But it's all sort of levelling out. Everyone's finding their own space on track and racing their own race now. So we'll have a quick look at the comments. Mikey, very nice move by old Dads. I think he was talking about the earlier battle between him and James. Mikey saying bets are in Paddy Power for CHM not getting a penalty. CHM also one of the drivers. Prev, no penalties so far this race as Cal sets the fastest lap again with a 1:25.8.
Just watching that McLaren throw it, the way he's throwing that car around the track here is like he's just doing his qualifying runs. He's got no issues. I can't see he's worried at all about the tyres at this stage. Nor his fuel, nor his battery as well. His ERS deployment, he's still got a high percentage saved up on there as well. He's managing this very well, and he probably is because he may be aware of the penalty situation ahead of him on track. So if he can play it safe, play it smart, again, he's brought himself straight back into this after a purple first sector.
Well, yes, I mean, he's 10 seconds now down from a letdown estate, and all top three cars are going to have to pit, so if he can close the gap any more, he could be looking to be on fresh tyres about the same time the top two and really bringing the race to them. So not only is he looking strong for a podium, I wouldn't be too surprised if I seen him on the top step, because he did get pole. He has got some incredible pace around Australia, and for his debut race at Wheel to Wheel, it's a phenomenal show.
Oh yeah, he's definitely dusted off, like I say, those nerves from the beginning with a grid of people you don't know behind you in that respect. He's definitely just got back into his groove, showing what he can do, again, laying his cards down on the table and just seeing what anyone else can bring at him in that sense. And it must have been commentator's curse there, Bloom, because right as you say, I believe Prev picked up his first penalty as well, unfortunately, on the timetable. So
I did see that.
Just down to Cal and CHM to see if, well, as you say, if the comment said there by Mike, to see if Paddy Power is going to pay out on CHM at this stage.
Well, they wouldn't make any money. They wouldn't put good odds on it because it's a sure bet. CHM's got his line, and it's not very often that CHM deviates from his line, but sometimes that's not the best thing. But no, CHM, as I say, one of the long-standing drivers. He was once my teammate as well at Wheel to Wheel, I believe, maybe season 10. I think he was my teammate in Williams. And
that's a fact I didn't even know, so there you go.
Yeah. I've had some good teammates.
No, I say, yeah, let down estate back at Renault a couple seasons ago. Well, I say a few seasons ago now, but that was one of the seasons that I think me and him like to forget about.
That was you then?
Yeah. Sorry, we're still doing your team. I do apologise.
Well, I just left it open there. I said I've had some good teammates, and you just started talking about Mark at Renault was like, well, that weren't me. That was you.
I
And
was
that was
gonna
you
say,
with a really bad internet connection.
What was more ironic is I was at his. So, that was a season where we literally were sat side by side with our wheels.
Yeah, it was one of them where, you know, the one of you would go, and then we go, oh, give it 5, the other one will be gone.
Yeah. It was one of those lovely experiences, unfortunately, but I was going to say, unfortunately, that was, I think, the only collision I've ever really had with a teammate was with, funny enough, a letdown round Melbourne. First lap of the first season as well, together. Unfortunately, but it shows it can happen to anyone. Not had the pleasure yet with anyone else, but here's hoping if Aylin is still listening, he's got nothing to worry about from me.
Now I've had some good teammates, and I've got a good teammate now, but we got a yellow in sector 1, which is Maxi. Maxi is round. No wing damage by the looks on it.
He's done a good job to keep that one out the wall if he has spun that one round.
Oh, and James got another penalty. Let's click now to see the penalties. We are on 24 seconds for James.
It's that turns 11 and 12 again. They are catching drivers out this evening. You just take a little bit too much because you want to keep your foot down, try and shorten that angle that you're steering, and it does come back to bite you. You are extending the limits, unfortunately.
So we've got 8 penalties now for James. So that means his finishing position is demoted by 4. And just as I say that, Sega also picks up another penalty. So Cal is looking very strong for an easy podium here. He's now within 4 seconds of a letdown estate.
Like I say, he's already got that second place in one hand, and he's just going to be looking to reach out now and see if he can take the top spot, if he can get within that time. He's only a second off it. Like I say, if he can keep this close to them now, 1 second, he's shown the pace today. I believe he can do it.
As you say, he's already got the jump on a letdown estate for penalties. He could cross the line third and take the race win.
Which I believe is what we actually had happen on Wednesday, funny enough. It was either third or fourth that crossed the line and actually ended up taking the top step.
All I remember is my teammate crossed the line first. That's all I'm going to say.
That's fine. Mine crossed in third, but I was only a few positions behind him, so it's okay. It's a team game, you know.
It is. Team game, and obviously James is picking up the penalties for both drivers at the moment, as he is now on 24 seconds. Dan Pilbeam on the comments, this man needs some milk for the amount of penalties. And yes, I think he needs to concentrate on his track limits, otherwise he will be disqualified from the race altogether, which is not what we want to see. And you know, James has shown great pace, great racecraft in the last season, so he's probably hungry for a podium, hungry for some race wins this season, knowing that Mikey and Bannister are now moved up to AL1, but he's maybe a little bit too hungry at the moment, and he's pushing himself too hard.
I was going to say, you get into a bit of open track, especially to this part in the race as well, when you know you want to make a difference on the final outcome. If there are any other further stops, if there is another safety car, you start going that little bit faster, and it can happen to anyone, and you can just run that little bit too wide. Unfortunately, I think it's been done just one too many times.
I mean, sometimes all it is one click on your aerodynamics, and the car can feel so much better, control better, and he might have just took a click off to try and get more straight line speed, because he has shown some great straight line speed, but maybe that one click of aerodynamics has just taken away his turning to stay within the track limits.
Well, I just want to say I'm on board with Cal here, and he is getting right onto the back of a letdown estate. It's only been a lap or two before he's going to start getting the assistance of the DRS as well. Well, it just shows the difference there. Lap 12 softs compared to lap 32 mediums on that Red Bull, and even 27 lap old mediums on the Ferrari. I can't see they're going to be taking them much longer, surely not.
Now, the question is, what tyres does Cal have available? because if he doesn't have a set of mediums, he's probably worth pitting soon.
I don't know, if he stretched these tyres out, if he can get these tyres to round about that 42-ish, he could be looking to slap another set of tyres on. If he can keep the softs good for 16, 17 laps, which he's doing a very good job so far, he could try and eke it out into another set of softs if necessary.
Yeah, Mikey also commenting on the how many lap old Letdown Estates mediums are. Just wow, he says. But Cal almost within DRS range now, but as we previously said, these all top three are going to have to pit again at some point, and I think it's going to be game changer for who pits when and for what tyre.
I think if the Letdown Estate even I didn't think about that then. If the Letdown Estate can get the undercut, I think the fresher rubber is definitely going to pull him back into contention against the Ferrari of old dads. I think Cal though is just in prime position here to kind of he's got his cake and he's eating it in that sense. He's got all the choices in that respect to make his judgment call.
Yeah, like I say, I just wish I knew what he had in his garage, because if he does have a set of softs ready, that would be perfect. But we know that a Letdown Estate is more than likely going to be pushing these mediums for a set of softs. But we don't know what the pace difference is between these two, whilst Mark's on a fresh set of softs at the same time. Because right now it's hardly much competition between 13 lap old softs and 33 lap old mediums.
Well, you think about the delta as well, when they're both fresh, you say that they're about a second difference, so to add another 20 laps onto the slower compounder tyres as well. It's good showing by both these guys, because I would have put money on the McLaren to make the move about 3 laps ago, so he must be doing something in that Red Bull to try and keep his head down.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's had quite an incident-filled start. Also, losing his teammate Xerxes is not going to be good for your headspace. So he's done well to just screw his head back down and get back on with this race. But Cal now DRS assistance. Didn't seem to make much advancement there, but a Letdown Estate did have his overtake button on.
Just thought I'd let you know, Bloom, you were asking what he had in his garage there. I believe it came back. Yeah, it's a pit crew, I believe, and some tyres. There we go.
I don't know, I just wanted to know if he had Nicole's shirt swinger or whatever in there.
Shirt swinger?
Yeah.
You're bringing your weekend hobbies back into it. But no, just to get back on track there, Sega pitting now onto a fresh set of softs. Though, that's an interesting call. I believe it's just out the window to try and get them to the end. But maybe he's just trying to go for the fastest lap. Interesting call from the William garage.
It's a little early, but it's not it's doable. They just won't have much pace towards the end. But Cal closing in on a Letdown Estate.
He says he's been staring at the back of that Red Bull now for I think one too many laps. It's something I think you're pretty similar with as well, Bloom. It's not a nice sight to see, but
I don't know what you mean.
He
normally it's me in the Red Bull. But yeah, lost a little bit of traction on the back end there, and Cal taking full advantage. His DRS assistance is comfortably ahead now into the braking zone. Cal will have DRS assistance down this second straight because both DRS zones are off the same detection point.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me now if you see the Letdown Estate bringing that car in now for his pit stop with 18 to go. He's done his part in that sense. He's managed to help, hold up Cal in that respect to try and make his race a little bit easier at the end. It's obvious the McLaren's going to have to pit again. So again, we could see a Letdown still trying to, put a spanner in the works for the McLaren.
Yeah, I mean, Mark's done his work now on their mediums, as you say. If he could do 35 laps on that set of mediums, I'm sure he could do 18 laps on a set of softs. But now he's got no rest for the wicked because James, the other McLaren, is now on his case. Already been a little bit of a contact between these two drivers this race, so I don't think there'll be any love lost in the battle in here.
while we're just talking about the strategies, whether I could just see a comment on the stream from Mikey, just saying not sure about the long stint will work on the mediums, but that is coming from the Weird Tyres strategy guy.
Yeah,
so
Mikey has had some weird strategies, but James just touching the back of a letdown estate there, but a letdown estate is in.
Should be a betting man. There we go. He's done his job. He's held the cars up around him. He's going to come in now for a fresh set of rubber, and that'll be him to the end.
Yeah, I've got to mention
on
there.
A set of softs, though.
Cal, 16 lap old softs, and he sets the fastest lap. So he had DRS assistance on the first stint.
So I could say, just noticed as well, that was a wing change as well for the Red Bull. So I didn't even notice that he'd even had damage on that car as well. So the fact that he held the McLaren behind him for so long, top-notch job there from him.
Sega with the fastest lap now with a 1:24.5, but Sega 9 seconds of penalties. Old Dad's is 9 seconds of penalties, so Cal right now is effectively our race leader because Cal has no penalties and Old Dad's has 9 and Cal's only 6 seconds behind and catching.
This is where it's going to be, I believe, Ferrari. He's going to have to pit. Our Old Dad's is going to have to come in sooner rather than later now. He's going to have to try and cover off the Red Bull of a letdown estate, but also he's got to think about Cal and the McLaren. It's going to get very close and they need to make the right call.
So it's going to get very interesting in this final section of the race. A letdown estate, as you say, fresh rubber, Sega, fresh rubber. They're both close to each other on track. They're not far behind Prev, who's on 24-lap old rubber. Cal and Old Dad's in the pits, which puts James momentarily our race leader.
Just want a quick shout out there too as well to unfortunately the man that couldn't make it tonight though. Is there. Good job guys, so I'm glad that I could be keeping the seat warm this evening and still doing an okay role.
Yeah, it's a big seat to fill because Matt does such a fantastic job on the commentary. And we've got to now go to a letdown estate who was coming up on the side of Prev, but also not far behind. Sega is also very close to Prev. A letdown estate made the move first. Sega now making the move on Prev just behind.
Don't know if you call what instigated all of that as well, but as they came into the final corner, Prev, 2 wheels on the grass, which completely cut his traction going on to the straight, which caused the Red Bull and the Williams to be all over the back of his gearbox going down into turn 1.
And another penalty for James. It's not what he wants, and a letdown estate picks up on it also. This is going to have massive effect on the final standings. Old Dad's... Sorry, go on.
He's got another one. Old Dad's is up to 12 as well, so I believe everyone that had one who've been in this close contention have all in sync gone and had another one to just keep the field a bit even again.
Cal and CHM the only drivers not to pick up a penalty. Prev the only one with 1 penalty. And James with 9 penalties.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe, it's 10 strikes and you're out.
I can't remember if it's 10 or 12, I've got to be honest. I think it's 12.
I can happily say the one thing, I've never had 12 penalties in a race, so I couldn't tell you.
Sega really having a look at a letdown estate. Prev pitting after being overtaken by the 2 cars on screen now. So hopefully we can get a few people in after this Grand Prix for a post-race interview, which will be great to hear some new voices, because it's looking like Cal is going to be experienced, if not his first podium, his first win on his debut race here at Wheel2Wheel. Phenomenal show.
Just trying to work out the difference as well, as I was going to mention him as well. Old Dad's coming across with a 24.4. There is the 12 seconds worth of penalties. the gap was at around about 9 seconds between the two, so it could have gone either way, but I believe Cowan, he's just got the pace in the McLaren today. One hell of a debut, honestly. He's really hit the ground running here. It's nice to see the Williams as well still riding over the back of the Red Bull here for the battle for fourth, with the same penalties as well, so the position's going to have to be made on track. Hopefully none of these guys do get a little bit generous with their track extending. With a handful of laps to go, I do believe it's going to be an interesting one on the tyres as well. Both on, well, very similar stints in that respect. The Red Bull have let down a state on 2-lap fresh or soft, so as you say on paper in that respect, you'd expect the Red Bull to stay in front, but the pace that Sega's shown this evening, anything could happen.
Yeah. But we know that a letdown estate has some fantastic tyre management, so, you know, when them tyres are looking 10, 11 laps old, then a letdown estates might be even in a better condition than Sega's were when they were 10 laps old.
Be intrigued to know to see what James is doing at the front in the McLaren. Unfortunately, the penalties are just going to, you know, they do make the outcome in that respect completely different, but it'll be interesting to see if he is going to attempt to take those mediums to the end. At this stage, he's already on 19 laps on them, but we've seen that people can take them to 35, as you say. CHM on his set of tyres at the moment up to 27 laps, still going strong.
Still without a penalty.
Yeah, it still baffles me seeing how someone can do a 100% race without getting a single penalty. It's just alien to me on this game. It really is.
You said that wrong. It's Ailhan.
No, I hate to call out my teammate, but he did pick up a couple of ones.
Yeah, that was a one-off.
Yeah, he's allowed one. I'll let him have one. I think that's fair.
You've usually got a few to spare.
Yeah, I'm normally holding him for him. I'm half the grid. But yeah. No, it's definitely an impressive show to be able to do that.
Yeah.
From my point of view, anyway. I know you can be clean as well, 9 times out of 10, so just don't know how you guys do it.
Speak of the devil. Go on.
Sorry.
Go on.
I was just going to say, I was going to bring up CHM and talking about him earlier on those lap tyres, and he's just got onto a set of mediums. I'm surprised he didn't decide to change it up to a set of softs for the last 12 laps. Maybe try and go for that fastest lap of the race point.
I'm wondering if he was expecting to have softs and pit crews put on some mediums, or whether he did all that and then realised he didn't actually have any fresh mediums.
Yes. Definitely interesting call down at Mercedes, more like a Germany, 2019 call, or Bahrain 2020. Wrong tyres on the car kind of thing.
Yeah. But CHM is currently 1 lap down.
I believe I've just realised what your comment was, just looking at the comments on the stream there. Alan, yes it was. I bet it was. Don't worry, I'll carry the rest of them for the season for us, don't worry.
So I think I'm just going to have a quick rundown as we are coming on to lap 47, as James is going to cross the line. James currently leading the race, but with the penalties he has at the moment, he's looking to drop 5 places after the time has been deducted from his finishing time also, so he's looking like he's going to be down in at least between 6th or 8th place, depending on how everybody else crosses the line. Old Dad's for Ferrari in 2nd place. He's shown a really good showing here. Let's flick over to the positions gained. Yeah, he's gained 2 positions here, but he's probably going to lose out at one of those positions to Cal behind, because Cal currently with no penalties, 47 laps into this 58 lap race, and he has not exceeded 3 track warnings yet, so he will finish the race, and as it stands he would be the race winner. A letdown estate for Red Bull. He's had a really bad start to this race,
couple incidents, couple wings. He's had 2 wing changes this race, which is probably not what he wanted. But he's currently running in 4th for Red Bull, and very close behind him is Sega, who I believe is still on the same amount of penalties. Yep, Sega quite close behind, similar set of tyres, racing for Williams, so he'll be looking to take that position from a letdown estate on track before they cross the line.
Well, it's effectively the battle for P3 if you take into the additional positions dropped for the amount of penalties that you do take as well. So it may just look like a battle for P4, but that is for the final step on the podium.
It is. That's a battle for the post-race interview with me and you.
I think if they knew that, neither of them would want to do it.
They just pull over and jump out.
Let someone else take it.
Then we've got Maxi in 6th place, riding for Renault. This is wheel-to-wheel debut, along with Cal. So he's put on a good show today. Good to see him still driving 48 laps into this race. So hopefully we'll see more of him in the future. Prev, again one of our long-standing wheel-to-wheel drivers. I think he's probably been wheel-to-wheel as long as I have, if not maybe longer. One of the earlier names that I remember here when I joined in Season 8. He's running in 7th place for Ferrari, so him and old dads together will probably score some good points as he just sort of rides onto the grass a little bit there. But so
I believe the letdown estates is a burning there though. Sorry, Jack, he's just completely pulled the gap out there on the Williams of Sega. I think he realises he could be in a shot for the top 3.
Yeah, that gap has jumped up massively, so whether that, as you say, maybe a mistake from Sega or maybe a letdown estates just thought, right, I'm having it. And then currently last in the surviving drivers is CHM driving for Mercedes. Again, one of our long-standing.
He's kept it clean.
He has. Him and Cal are the only drivers currently to not have been awarded a penalty.
And yet, you joined in Season 8. God, that makes me feel old. I've nearly done 10 seasons of this then.
You have?
I think I joined back in Season 6 or 7.
Wow. Yeah, it was F1 2016, the game that I joined on.
Oh wow, time really does fly, doesn't it? Wow. But yeah, I'm just focusing here on the Ferrari of old dads. That gap is dropping fast to James. Unfortunately, it may not be for the lead at the end, but it's going to be a bit of bragging rights to see who can cross the line first. It still does mean something at the end of the date. I know it would to myself.
Well, yes, no driver wants to gain a place on penalties, albeit that they'd accept it, but, you know, really, you want the taking to be done on track.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be hearing any complaining from James if he does make anything up from this.
Although I'm sure James is aware that we do the position drops.
If not, it'd be a nice surprise.
It'd be a hell of a surprise. But mind you, 27 seconds worth of penalties, he's not going to be on the podium anyway, I don't think.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but like I say, it's his first race out, I believe. Is that, correct me if I'm wrong there? But
James? No, it's not his first. He's Strident.
Beg your pardon.
There you go.
See, I was just trying to focus on the driver changes was hard enough, let alone the team changes, let alone the name changes as well.
Well, that's it. I mean, Strident, who is James, shown quite a good bit of improvement within the last season, so I think he's chomping at the bit, and he's probably pushing as hard as he possibly can to try and make up places, and I think that's what we've seen throughout this race is James taking risks he maybe hadn't of last season because he didn't quite have the pace, but now that he's got the pace and he's got the he hasn't got the competition that he had last season in the way of Mikey or Bannister or Dastardly. You know, he's probably thinking, this is my season, I need to step up and take it. But I think that's cost him, first of all, penalties, and second of all, you know, if you're pushing your limits like that, especially when you're around some of the other drivers, you might have some incidents called to the stewards to be reviewed. So something to bear in mind when you're trying 100% league racing and you want to try and get them positions. You don't want to then end up with a quali ban or a race ban if you've upset some of the other drivers.
It's an easy one as well. Once you do get the first couple, like it can happen where you just start to think, right, I just want to push as fast as I can go now, and what's one more? Yeah. Unfortunately, what's one more has turned into, well, unfortunately, about five or six, nearly in that sense. But yes, I do think it's still going to be a bit of action on track though. Cal, believe it, he's slowly trying to close in on the back of old Dad's. If could be a good bit of team play here from McLaren there as well. If James does decide to put up a bit of a fight here. Try and Cal at the moment, as it stands, like I say, with the penalties, he is net P1, but he could also end up at this stage possibly crossing the line first as well.
Yes, as you rightly said, old Dad's closing that gap to James. He's now got DRS and the tyre difference. He's going to have quite a strong pace advantage as old Dad sends it under braking round the outside into turn 3. Can he hold the position round turn 4? He can.
Brilliant move. Absolutely perfect. That is trusting your car. However, as I said, that James coming straight back on his older tyres, but just didn't have the straight line speed. Old Dad showing that he wanted to get it done. He wants to cross the line first, and that was just perfect. Every part of that pass.
Yeah, but James not wanting to give that up at all. He fought tooth and nail to try and defend that back. But as you say, the pace difference between those tyres, he didn't have much of a chance.
It'll be interesting to see if James does let Cal through in that respect, because I'm just looking at the comments on the stream there. Mikey seems to agree as well, thinking Cal is going to be the one to take it on the track as well, take the win.
Yeah, it's definitely looking strong for Cal. It's a very impressive race, and we have a yellow flag again, which is Maxi. No front wing now.
Bit too much grass, I believe, on the exit there, and has lost it going in through, I believe that is turn 9, the quick right-hander. So there could have either been the entry curve or the exit. Both can actually unsettle your car quite easily.
So old
especially if you are on tyres that are on 25 laps old.
Yes. Tyre degradation really does hinder you here, but it looks like he's possibly pulling over to let Prev by. But old Dad's leading the lap now. But both James and Cal within DRS range of each other. James doing well to show some pace this late in the race on his tyres compared to his competitors around him, but he has now dropped out of DRS, but he's still under threat from Cal behind. Oh, Cal doing great to keep it there, and it looks like James let his teammate by.
Yeah, there'd be no reason to hold him up. No reason at all at this stage.
Yeah, it really good to see that. You know, it's team orders, but at the same time, it's common sense. You know.
Yeah, especially if you weren't to look at the penalties, if they weren't there, the pace that Cal has at this stage, you wouldn't want to ruin the chance of having your car cross the line first, would you?
No. But James now dropped down to third, and he's got, was it 5 or 6? 5 position drops at the end, so it's looking like he is going to be finishing this race at the bottom of the table, which is unfortunate, but it's the rule, and you can't come round with 27 seconds worth of penalties and expect to be on the podium.
I mean, I just want to point out as well something completely different there. Sega must have made a stop a lap or two ago, which I've missed unfortunately there, but he's put a fresh set of softs on, so that's given a letdown state loads of breathing room here to just make sure he can hold that final podium position in that respect. But clearly he's going for the fastest lap in the Williams.
He is, but he is just a shaving away from beating Cal's time. Cal currently holds the fastest lap, and you can really see why, because he's now within DRS of old Dad's. So after that horrible loss of traction at the start and breaking his wing and ended up 30 seconds behind, safety car bringing him back into the race from the back, he's managed to claw 54 laps later back up to fighting for the first place.
I'm still confident even without the safety car. Sorry to say, I think he would still be up there.
Old Dad's picked the inside line to defend. Cal went round the outside and it seemed relatively clean. Old Dad seemed to might have a slightly different opinion, but that would just have to wait and see.
Beg your pardon, I didn't realise there was a move for the first going on there. I do apologise.
There was,
but I was watching the Williams of Sega.
As you say, the pace difference, it wasn't much of a fight. But that's dropped Old Dad's back a little bit as Sega does pick up the... sorry, go on, that's your game.
I was just going to say, yeah, he went across the line. He smashed that with a 23-4, 23-2. Just missed the decimal there. But yeah, he wants the extra point at the end of the day there. And it was a good strategy call. Maybe he thought he wasn't going to get let down the state there for P4 or effectively P3 in that respect. So just wanted to get the extra one taken away from Cal.
So just a few laps left now, and it's looking like the top three is pretty decided. Cal having overtaken Old Dad's last lap and gained 2-second advantage on him. Old Dad's is hanging on as much as he can, and James now with them 30 lap old mediums, I don't think he can bring much of a fight, but he's not letting off.
Be interesting to see now if Cal does try and save some of that battery deployment back up over the last couple of laps, just to give it that one last push for the fastest lap as well, get all three, you know, pole position, fastest lap and the win on his first race. Be a very impressive show.
It would be a very impressive show, and it'll be an amazing threat to all the other drivers to say, look what I can do. And all that from the start, from where you've seen him entering lap 2, is just amazing. So, a couple more comments. Ailhan says, keep in there, Maxi. Obviously, his first race for Wheel2Wheel. And he has been involved in one or two little spins, and he came off himself and lost his wing. But doing well to keep in it. 100% distant racing is no joke. It's a very long race to do. Sometimes you're sat there for nearly 2 hours. Especially when you include qualifying, it's a big challenge. And well done to Maxi for surviving his first wheel-to-wheel race. A few incidents, but you know, keeping your head and staying in really does help. You know.
I find it even more impressive as well, because by the looks of it, I could be wrong here, but I believe he is a pad user as well. So to sit here for this amount of time, if you've not done this before with a controller, a wheel's a little bit easier to do because you're already kind of in that position. But to sit there for this amount of time with the concentration, it does put a strain on you.
I was going to say, what's wrong with the pad? What's wrong with
nothing wrong with it at all. I find it impressive. As I say, I personally find it easier to do a longer stint like this in a chair, like for example myself, because you're already kind of sat in the position, you're kind of comfy. To sit there with a controller for this amount of time with the concentration and to recover from the spins he's had and to still be going at this stage, he's done a very good job today.
Yeah. And let's not take any shine away from Xerxes or Silver, you know, their first race here at Wheel2Wheel, but they've unfortunately DNF'd earlier in the session. Cal using his overtake there to try and get the fastest lap, but he was 2 seconds down, but he starts our final lap now. You know, old dad's not far behind, but penalties, Cal has none. So let's hope that Allshot can maybe get a few drivers in as we go through the final standings after the race, get them in for a post-race interview, because it would be great to speak to these people. As James picked up another penalty. Unbelievable.
Just want to point out there as well, just having a quick look, but I think it's only 1 or 2 warnings possibly for Cal. He's done a very good job today. One hell of a drive.
Yeah, unbelievable drive from Cal. His first appearance here at Wheel to Wheel. I'm not even sure if he's done much league racing elsewhere, but you know, he come on, he's got quite chatty with James. James has been on practicing with him, and this just goes to show how much practice he's been doing, because we have our season opener for season 16 at Wheel to Wheel AL2, and crossing the line first is Cal, winning the Australian Grand Prix.
Brilliant drive by the McLaren driver there. Absolutely perfect. He's really hit the ground running in this league, and I believe it's going to be one hell of a season for him as well.
Yeah, old dad's doing a fantastic show there as well, crossing the line second. He did have quite a few penalties, but he has finished quite a way in front of a Letdown Estate, so he does keep his second place. A Letdown Estate also on the podium for Red Bull, so great points there. Sega will be promoted to 4th because James has got too many penalties. He will suffer the demotions. Prev is coming round now in 6th place, but Maxi and CHM both lapped, so they can't improve their positions. So Prev will come home and take 6th place for Ferrari. And what a fantastic race that was. We only had one safety car, one virtual safety car, plenty of penalties, plenty of overtaking, a little bit of contact in some places, but I think for everybody getting used to the new drivers and the new drivers getting used to league racing, such a fantastic show. And Maxi with driver of the day there, so good effort there for your first wheel-to-wheel race. We'll see how many people we can get in for the post-race interview. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments if we can get anybody on. But fantastic celebration, fantastic season opener for AL2. You know, sometimes you look and you think there's only 10 drivers on track, but you wouldn't have even known that today, because the action that was going on throughout, the different strategies, there was just overtaking everywhere and action to be seen. So Cal for McLaren taking the top step, and now at Wheel to Wheel that earns you a total of 35 points. So great drive from Cal. Old Dad's Rules takes 2nd place on the podium. A Letdown Estate taking a podium. I think he only achieved 1 podium last season, so that's a great start for the Red Bull driver. James did cross the line 4th, but he will be down into 8th place, which then puts Sega up into 4th, Prev into 5th, Maxi into 6th, CHM into 7th, which I mentioned CHM the only other driver to complete the race without any penalties, and then obviously James will then take the 8th place after his position drops.
Just trying to see if I can get a word in here. I believe we may be joined by a Let State, if I can get this to work, for an interview. Just waiting to hear back from the other two. Don't know if you've heard anything back at all, Bloom, just yet.
No, I was too busy trying to fill the air with my voice. Whilst
as beautiful as it is.
Whilst you was off doing that, I'm just going to make sure that when anybody does come on, that they can be heard.
I mean, it might be worth you trying. I think I might have having a few technical issues here trying to get people in, so do apologise.
So we had Cal, Old Dads, and a letdown. I don't have Cal on my list at the moment, so I'll have to get the other two in, see if one of them can get Cal in. And I just seem to be spiraling also on my friends list. It's not letting me do anything there. Oh, I do lie, I've got Cal, so I will send him an invite. And if I've got Old Dads on here, then he's showing us offline. I've sent him one.
It was nice to see the drive come back through. It was unfortunate to see Xerxes unfortunately lose his way. He looked like he was keeping up with, or even giving you a bit of a run for your money for the team. It looks like it was would have been a strong finish. Do you think there's going to be more of that to come?
I don't think we can hear you on the stream, Mark. Sorry, season opener, but we're going through. I seem to really struggle to get my friends list up at the minute as well.
Couple of tens between most people. So yeah, it should be pretty good.
Well, it was nice to see that. Must be happy as well in regards to the podium as well. You just touching back on the joint constructors side of things, as well with two Red Bull podiums out of two races in that respect. So must be happy as well with that side of it.
Yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good.
I mean, got to be completely unbiased, of course, but it was very nice to see.
So, how was your track experience today? Because it looked like there was a little bit of contact between you and James turn one early on in the session, which maybe looked a bit of dirty air. I think you got some wing damage as well.
No, that was 100% my fault. I just got a bit late on the brakes and just nudged him in the back, that's all. 100% my fault.
It looked pretty spectacular because you just shot off sideways into the gravel pit.
It was on the lightest touch, but it did enough to kind of like the right angle to spin me.
Yeah. But from there to then, rejoin at the back of the pack, obviously a safety car helped to get you back in, but then to go from there to reclaim a podium is quite outstanding.
Yeah, I'm just shame about those penalties because I in the last lap I pushed really hard and got within 12 seconds of Old Dads, so I not had any penalties, I'd have got second.
No way.
I mean, the thing I just want to touch on as well, actually, is the 35 laps on the set of mediums.
Is that how many it was?
Point out.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah. You stretched those tyres out longer than anyone else in the grid. You did one hell of a stint on those mediums in the middle of the race there. That was just outstanding.
I was saying to Cal when he overtook me at the end, they felt fine, they were just slow. I could have done another 30 laps on them. I'd have been very slow, obviously, but yeah, they felt perfectly fine. I wasn't having issues with the grip or anything. So
no, you managed to keep Cal behind you for quite a few laps as well, which was nice. And as soon as he did get by in that respect, it was time to just come in and slap a fresh set of rubber on, which is exactly what you did. Timed it to perfection.
As soon as I saw him within that 2-3 seconds, I was like, right, when he gets past me, because he's going to, that's when I'm going in.
Yeah.
Well, clearly was the right decision to do, because it's ended up with a top 3 tonight.
And how was your teammate Xerxes? Because it looked like you was close on track quite a bit before his unfortunate DNF.
Yeah, he's quick. Should be interesting throughout the season to see how we compare against each other. Just like he got, what, is it P3 in qualifying? So he's won up so far.
Yes. Yeah, which is something that Letdown States added onto our standings. We now see fastest laps, poles, and a teammate comparison. So more content for our commentary.
I'm just glad to be back in regards to seeing an opening race like that as well. Yeah, considering how close everyone is on the grid, the battling early on, it was, like I say, personally great to see a Red Bull back in the top 3, but it was just, you guys kept it entertaining throughout the tyre strategy. Like I say, 35 laps on the mediums, just impressive, and for Cal as well, both of you guys to be at the back to come back through to finish where you did retrospectively in that sense. It was yeah, one hell of a drive from both of you.
It's becoming a regular thing now, you guys talking about what I do with tyres.
Well, you're one of the few people that push them beyond where we would normally think the limit would be.
Yeah, you're very Perez in that respect.
And in the Red Bull.
Yeah, exactly. You somehow keep the life in those tyres with a respectable lap time, much longer than normally people just throw in the towel. So yes, it's always fun to watch.
Yeah, it's cool. It was a good race though.
It was fantastic season opener for season 16. So we'll see how we can advance from there.
Yeah, should be good. Bahrain next week.
Bahrain next week. So AL1 on Wednesdays, which it looks like we may be starting to get commentary for AL1. So join us for that. If not, we will see you next Friday where we race Bahrain for AL2.
That's going to be the race where Letdown Estate does the entire Grand Prix on a set of softs.
And just changes
not.
to hards on the last lap so he doesn't get disqualified.
Exactly.
Alright, thank you all, and we'll see you next week. Stay safe.